Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the third day of conference of the AODN Summit 2020. We are thrilled to have Mr. Jamen Shively discussing climate change with us this afternoon. Mr. Jamen Shively has been involved in technology, humanitarian, and environmental work since high school when he traveled to central Mexico 4 times for summer and winter-long volunteer projects involving latrine construction, sanitation, and community health development. Studying civil engineering and AI at UC Berkeley and MIT, Jamen went on to consult and work for a number of multinational companies, including Cemex of Mexico and Microsoft, where he worked as corporate strategy manager, developing a strategy and platform for leapfrogging Google into the lucrative space of B2B search and marketplaces. Post-Microsoft, Jamen founded Diego Pellicer Inc., one of the first legal cannabis companies in the United States, and the one which garnered the lion's share of media coverage worldwide in 2012 and 2013, bolstered by a high-profile partnership with former Mexican President Vicente Fox. Jamen committed 100% of his share of the profits from this venture to ending world hunger and seeing the synergies between solving 2 major global problems simultaneously, hunger and prohibition. Envision a platform and process for simultaneously and holistically solving all of the world's most daunting problems. With the rising consciousness around exponential climate change in 2014, Jamen co-founded Radish.org with Michael Call to make this vision a reality. Since then, Jamen and Radish have incubated the Radish Platform for Radical Collective Intelligence, RCI, the CCC standard for a compassionate economy, community cafes for ending world hunger, and various other platforms for solving world problems and transforming life on Earth. Jamen's current focus is on completing the RCI platform and on rallying the world's major religions to embrace collective intelligence as a grand, unifying meta-solution for generating all of the specific solutions needed to save as much of life on Earth as possible, including humanity. Please let's give us a warm welcome for Mr. Jamen Shively, and over to Roland for a few words before we begin our presentation.
The only thing I have to say is this is being recorded and this is going to go worldwide to thousands of organization development people in the United States, at Pepperdine, in Asia, in Africa, South Africa, you name it. This is going to go big. So welcome, Jamen. You're the I will repeat. You were the strategic development person at Microsoft, one of the most important roles in the world, and you learned a lot there. So take it away. Be yourself.
Ni hao, ni hao. Hello, everyone, all around the world. Jamen Shively, thank you so much, Sir Roland, for that kind welcome and introduction, and thank you so much, Sunny, for your kind welcome and introduction. It's very good to be talking with all of you, and I will be presenting some of the time, but then I'd really love to more make this a conversation and invite everyone here, everyone listening who has the ability to join the conversation to do that. And hopefully, Sunny, can we get everyone on video? Anyone who wants to join on video conference so that we can talk directly? Is that possible?
Yes, absolutely. I can begin moving folks over to being directly interactive via video and audio. And so we'll move everyone over in just a few minutes. So please self-unmute and self-webcam share.
Awesome. Yeah. And because that will be really great in order to get like visual feedback, so I can see people's reactions and see when people raise their hand if they have a question, because we have a lot of time, a little over an hour to have a conversation. So I really want to make this conversational. So please, jump in when you're ready. And that includes clarifying questions from the very beginning. So having said all that, let me start with a broad overview, kind of tell you what I'm going to tell you in more detail in the next 15, 20 minutes. And then I'll talk in more detail. I'll share some slides, and then let's jump into conversation. Okay, so here's the broad overview. The planet is overheating exponentially, right? And we have entered a truly dangerous and potentially catastrophic phase of the exponential. There is a solution to this. There is basically one class of solutions that will stop this exponential from cooking the entire planet. We've reached that degree of emergency. And the class of solutions that will stop the overheating is called solar radiation management, reflecting a portion of the sunlight back into space. Like you see here, this portion of the wall and painting are reflecting light, okay? We need to reflect sunlight back into space to cool the planet. That's something that statistically you've probably never heard of before, or if you've heard of it, it's just some sci-fi idea, something like that. But it's very far from mainstream. The mainstream is still focused on decarbonization, sequestering carbon, reducing emissions, and that's all very important, but that's going to play out over decades to centuries. We need something that we can implement now to cool the planet now before it's too late. So I'll talk about that. And then I will address, so that's called solar radiation management, SRM. And when I share slides, I'll have more information on that and where you can find out even more. But from there, you know, and if I were just in my engineering mode, right, I would stop there. I'd say, hey, we have the engineering solution. Here's what it is, right? Great, everyone applaud, yeah, applaud, yeah, thank you. And then I'd go home and I'd drink some beer and I'd watch some Netflix and I'd go to sleep. Very happy because I made a nice presentation about the solution. The problem is humanity has known about the problem and it has known about the solution. Collectively, we've known about it. We haven't talked about it publicly, but we've known about the solution for quite some time. And knowing about the solution is not getting us any closer to implementing the solution. And that's really where I want us to spend our time. Okay, I'm going to leave it as homework for you. If you want to learn about SRM, really go deep into it, that's homework. And you have to do your homework. I'll show you where to go to find the best presentation on Earth presented by Dr. Ye Tao at Harvard. But before I talk about anyone else, I want to thank Dr. Li Lu for his leadership in him and colleagues organizing this conference and inviting us to present on such an important topic. It's a radical step because we have a radical solution to all this. So I'll point to Dr. Ye Tao at Harvard and his pioneering work and presentation on solar radiation management and why it's essential. But in terms of why humanity is not talking about it, we're going to assume that that's the solution. Okay, so why are we not talking about it? What's the problem? The problem is we're focused on the wrong thing. Oh, by the way, I'm not in presentation mode, am I? I don't think so. No, I'm not. Okay, never mind. Sorry, we'll get to that. But the root of the problem is humanity is focused on the wrong thing. We're not focused on saving the planet. We might do that in our spare time. It might even be our career. But as a whole, our species is not focused on saving the planet. Our species is focused on the wrong game. What's the wrong game? Hoarding, accumulation, making money, buying land, buying property, right? Making even more money, renting it out, accumulation. We're playing the wrong game. We're addicted to this game. We're addicted to money, and it's killing us. For many reasons, it's killing us. But one of those reasons is it's preventing us from focusing on what's really essential, which is saving life on Earth. And to save life on Earth, we need to do SRM, solar radiation management, at planetary scale with great urgency. All right, so if that's the diagnosis of the problem as to why we are not able to put our focus on doing what is essential for saving life on Earth, and if we've done a proper diagnosis, that it's because we're addicted to the wrong thing, we're focused on the wrong thing, the wrong game, a very individual game, a hyper-individualistic game of hoarding. How do we change the game? I have a proposal. We have a proposal for how to change the game, and we'll talk about that. And it starts with feeding everyone on Earth. Can you imagine a world in which everyone eats 3 meals a day? Everyone. And everyone eats nutritious foods 3 meals per day. Can you imagine that world? We're about to achieve it. And one of the reasons we're about to achieve it, and we're putting so much focus on that right now, is because that's what it's going to take to get us to shift our mentality, shift our mindset, shift our focus from, no, I have to hoard and hoard and hoard to survive, to wait a second. Survival is now guaranteed for everyone. And guess what? If I don't have to focus on survival, what can I focus on? If I'm no longer focused on my own survival, then I can finally focus on the good of the whole, what's good for all of life. But if I feel like my life is threatened, my family is threatened by poverty, by hunger, by disease, by whatever, I'm first going to focus on me and mine, and I won't be able to focus on the planet. So, in summary, in a nutshell, everything I just said in the last few minutes, here it is in 1 minute. The planet is overheating exponentially. There's a solution called SRM. Almost no one knows about it. And almost no one cares, because we're addicted to the wrong game, the game of hoarding, the game of capitalism, the game of money, the game of ownership, and it's blinding us. In order to wake us up and break out the blinders and focus on something other than accumulation, we're going to feed everyone and show humanity a whole new world, a world in which everyone gets to eat. So that's the story, okay? Everyone got it? Are there any questions before I go deeper? I'm going to pause for questions.
And here I'd like to invite everybody to self-unmute and also to share your webcam to be able to engage directly. You'll find your unmute button on the upper left hand, looks like a microphone. Simply click on that and turning it from red to green. And then also utilize your webcam so that Jamen can interact and see all the wonderful folks that are logged into the conference today.
Dr. Lou, great to see you. How are you? Hello. Hello. Phyllis Lan Lin. Ni hao, ni hao. Gawa, ni hao. Ni hao.
Hello.
Lua, ni hao, ni hao. Waga, ni hao, ni hao. Michael. Michelle. 你好，你好。
你好。
Jaga, 你好，
Good
你好。
afternoon.
Jaga, 你好，你好。All right. Well, great to see everyone. Thank you for joining the conversation, because it's really about the conversation. That's how we make progress, is coming together in conversation. So thank you for being willing to do that. Are there any questions at this moment, or should I just go deeper? There's two layers I want to go deeper. One is about solar radiation management. You know, what is this thing, right? And why is that the solution? And then the second thing is into that which is going to change our minds, which is feeding everyone, right?
Okay, come on. Question.
Let's go. Okay, thank you, Sir Roland. Thank you. So let me go ahead and screen share. We're going to go a little bit deeper now into solar radiation management.
I know Mandy is not shy.
I'm very happy to hear that. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. I'm just getting used to this. So PowerPoint. Okay, wait, I need to get it to show the presentation. So 1 second, please. Okay, here. Go full screen.
Looking great.
So, oh, is it? Okay, good. Okay.
Oh, actually, okay, there you go. Yep.
Oh. All right.
And full screen?
Does it look like full screen now?
Not yet. Now we are good.
Okay, good. Okay, so solar radiation management. The first thing I want to show. Oh, did it get up full screen? Sorry about that. Oh, I guess I need to keep the control on. Sunny, is it full screen now or not?
Not yet. Let's go back to
okay.
PowerPoint. Yep.
Okay, there. Okay.
Great.
Okay, thank you. So, first of all, here's information if you want to note it. To find more information, go to thepressconference.org and you scroll down on the homepage. Look for the presentation by Dr. Ye Tao of Harvard University. And when you go there, here's what you're going to see. You're going to learn about the different ways in which we reflect sunlight into space, sunlight back into space. See, the thing that's heating the planet is not greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases aren't hot. They don't generate heat, right? What they do is trap heat. What's the source of the heat? The sun, obviously, the sun. And so what SRM, solar radiation management, is all about is about reflecting sunlight back into space before it heats up the planet in the first place. And I maintain this is the only way to cool the planet in time. Why is that? Because reducing emissions will have effects that play out over decades to centuries. We need something that will cool the planet now. We're out of time. The only thing that will do it now is solar radiation management. And the best solution in the world that I have seen is this one. Putting mirrors on the ocean to reflect sunlight back into space. We're talking about covering a huge percentage of the planet with mirrors. 1%, 2%, a really significant percent of the planet with mirrors to reflect sunlight back into space, to cool the planet in time. So with that, that's the part about SRM. Again, if you really want to get into it, the homework is watch the presentation of Dr. Ye Tao, which he made just last month on thepressconference.org. It was part of a press conference to the world saying, hello world, wake up, right? But the world cannot wake up yet. because humanity is still in the game of survival, 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 right? Even the millionaire, you think, oh, that person's a millionaire. No, no, no. They're still in the game of survival because now they need 10 million. And once they have 10 million, they need 100 million, right? I worked for Microsoft. I was corporate strategy manager at Microsoft. I worked for some of the richest people on earth. And I can tell you, the richest people have no peace, because not only do they want more, 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 they want to protect what they have, and other people want what they have, and there's competitors. They have no peace. They try to buy peace. They buy islands. They buy yachts, no peace. So this is something that's affecting all of us. That's the food part. But before I get to the food part, and welcome everyone who's joined, and welcome everyone to join the conversation. Before I get to the food part, let's first talk solar radiation management, because this is something that most people are not willing to accept, that we've gone so far, right, off the deep end of the exponential, that we need such strong medicine as millions of square kilometers of mirrors to reflect sunlight back into space. I'm going to pause and mute my microphone and invite you to ask questions, even if they seem like basic questions. They taught me in high school, and I really believe this in my heart. The only stupid questions are the questions that go unasked. Okay, so if you have a question, however basic, please ask. And Dr. Lou, please help direct traffic however you want, because this is your community here who respects you very much, and for good reason. So Dr. Lou, thank you. Feel free to direct traffic if you wish.
I'm sorry I asked you a very stupid question. Based on my understanding, having a large amount of mirrors would help the situation. Is it correct?
You're saying it would help, or you're
will
saying
help the situation, based on what I understood.
Absolutely.
But you know, okay, but most of the earth, based on my knowledge, is covered by the oceans, by the waters, which do exactly the same thing as mirrors. They reflect the sun, right?
Wait, I'm sorry. What is it that does that effect?
The Earth's surface, most of the Earth's surface covered by oceans, by waters, which do the same thing with mirrors. The water of oceans reflects the sun, as I understanding. So
no. Your understanding is the opposite of the truth. Let me tell you the truth. Here's the truth. The dark blue ocean seawater absorbs 90% of sunlight.
Oh.
Mirrors absorb approximately, a good mirror, less than 1% gets absorbed. Most of it gets reflected. So the ocean, here's the thing, but if you're out like surfing on the ocean, you know, and the sun is setting, you see the reflection. That's because it's coming at a very low angle, right? But if it's hitting it directly, it absorbs 90%. Does that help, Mike?
Yeah. Now I understood your point, and understood. Okay, but how much mirror we need to save the Earth? I think it should be, you know, because hundreds of million square meters of the oceans with 10% reflection helps nothing. So how many mirrors? How much mirrors?
Yeah.
We should cover the surface with that one to help the situation.
We need on the order of 1 million, 2 million. I don't know how many millions, because there's a lot of factors involved, but we need on the order of millions of square kilometers. So think like in the United States, think like the state of Arizona, plus the state of New Mexico, pretty big states in the Southwest. That area of land, but now distributed. Imagine they have a giant mirror broken up into pieces, and then those pieces are distributed around the globe, right? Because it's going to be arrays of mirrors, clusters of mirrors, round mirrors, like I showed in the slide.
Okay. There are too many problems with this idea, I think. First of all, we cannot locate the mirrors on the oceans, right? It's gonna be difficult. We should design some kind of the mirrors who has the capability of putting on the water and stay on the water first. And too much funding, I think. Too much. I don't know.
Well, you know, I mean, here's the thing. I can't really, I disagree that it would take too much funding. Let's say it takes $1 trillion. I don't know how much it's going to cost. Let's say it's $1 trillion. You might, oh, that's too much. That's too much. What is the alternative, right? What's happening now is exponential planetary overheating, right? In exponential terms, Michael, we are minutes away from burning to a crisp. The planet's already on fire. The ice is melting. Let me put it in simple terms, Mike. Imagine you're on an airplane crossing the Pacific Ocean. This is the captain speaking. The plane is going down. The plane is going down, right? You know what? It's going to cost $1 trillion. Let's say there's, 10 of the richest people on Earth, and they say, okay, hey, we'll contribute $1 trillion, but save the plane. That's just one plane. I'm talking about the whole planet, Mike, right? The whole planet. That's what's at stake here. So if it costs $1 trillion, let it cost $1 trillion. Anyway, let's go on to another question. Really good questions, Mike. Prasanna has his hand up as well. Prasanna, yes.
Hi, Jamin. Hello, everyone. There are a couple of things that I have 3 points that I want to put forward, and they may be questions, or I hope that they provoke new thinking. So the first point I wanted to share is that this is the first time I have heard of solar radiation management. This is the very first time. I am quite, I mean, I do read up about the environment because I'm concerned about it, and most of the awareness about environmental issues come from social media for me through causes.org and things like that. But this is something that I think has not. I'm wanting to understand what is the percolation of awareness about solar radiation management in the general public. That's my first question. My second question is that understanding something like this, understanding what would be required for something like this, is that to reach a stage where, for example, you talk about 1 trillion funded mirrors covering so many square kilometers. Something like this requires, for sure, a lot of political will. Political will from leaders of countries. I think that is indispensable, despite how much ever you and I and hundreds of other people feel, how passionately we feel about something. Nothing's going to move unless political will is involved. I think Bill Gates does a fantastic job. A lot of philanthropists and a lot of leaders of organizations and individuals do a fantastic job. But unless political leaders and political will is also involved, it does not move forward. So my second question is, where do we stand today with respect to the political will of especially first world countries, because they are the ones with the maximum carbon emissions, and also because they have the ability to move things faster. Where do we stand today with the political will of these country leaders? My third question, Jamin, is The moment, I mean, it's the first question that popped into my mind when I heard about the big, hairy, audacious goal of covering the ocean surface is how is it going to impact marine ecology? I'm referring to fishes. I'm talking about whales. I'm not talking about fishing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about marine ecology, because if the surface is covered, then will it impact them? Will it impact marine plant life as well? Because they also depend on sunlight. If it is reflected back, then what happens to marine flora and fauna? These are my three questions. Thank you, Chairman.
Right, right. No, very good questions. Let me answer them in order. And thank you so much for those questions, Prasanna. That's exactly what we need right now is questions and conversation. So your first question about awareness, what's the awareness of this? It's almost non-existent. I mean, it doesn't even reach 1%, right? The people who know about it are basically some people who read science fiction. They say, oh, that's an interesting idea, haha, right? And a very small percentage of academics. Beyond that, almost no one knows about it. In terms of political will, well, political will follows awareness, right? And this is where I'm really getting to the root of the problem. And just so you know, ever since I left Microsoft, I've been a combination of taking care of the elders in my family and working on this. Nothing else since 2009. So, and it's been a journey of constantly looking to the root and how do we solve the problem at its root. And so it's not a problem of getting public awareness or getting political will, because our heads are not screwed on straight. We don't have the ability to care about the planet right now, right? Aside from, you know, someone like myself, I'm older, I'm over 50, you know, I've got enough to live on. And so it's like, you know, I'm taking care of my family. So it's like, okay, what's next? There was nothing next for me other than taking care of Mother Earth. And she's dying right now. That's just a reality. We can save her, but we have to get our heads screwed on straight. Okay, so how do we do that? And that's when we get to the food part. So the answer to the political will question is the answer to the food part, because that will transform us. Okay, and my full name, it says on the screen, Jamen Shively. My full name is Jamen Whipple Shively. I'm a direct descendant of the William Whipple, who signed the Declaration of Independence, saying no to colonialism. And what happened? Right? William Whipple, ancestor, is turning in his grave right now because the great revolutionary country of anti-colonialism has become the greatest colonial power on earth. I have revolution in my blood, and we're starting nothing less than a revolution here. But it's a non-violent revolution. It's a revolution of food, of feeding everyone, and going from there to take care of all human needs as basic human rights. But we start with food. The food is a revolution that will solve it all. The revolution in food. Why? It will get the dominoes tumbling. Once everyone is eating and we see that people don't have to starve to death, that's going to get our heads started to screw on straight. And then we'll take it from there. Housing, healthcare, transportation, other basics. right? Basic human needs. And as we do that, then we liberate ourselves from this Hunger Games struggle for survival. Okay. So the answer to the political question is the same answer as to the general public question. We first have to, basically we have to get off heroin. Money is like heroin. It's literally like heroin, right? And you're talking to someone who's addicted. I'm addicted. I wake up in the morning, I check my positions. What do I need to do? I'm addicted. We're all addicted. I can assure you, from the poorest person struggling to survive, starving, to the richest person on earth, we're all addicted, and we're playing the wrong game. And as long as we're playing this game, we're screwed. We're going down, down, down. The airplane is still going down, Mike, as long as we're playing this game. Okay.
And I would like to add, if I can, China, your children will be dead. They will not survive in China. So this is serious. And China, with Lu Li, he has direct contact with the government. You got to get behind Lu Li. We got to do something in China. China is 4 years ahead of everybody in the world in technology. And now China is the place that can save the world. Amen. Ho. What's that? Confucius.
Thank you, Sir Roland. You're absolutely right, but we're going to save China and the world. We're going to cool the planet in time. And what I'm proposing is one strategy to get there. What's your strategy? Let's talk about it, right? And more on that in a little bit. But first, Prasanna, you had a third question, which is about marine ecology. Hey, there's organisms that depend on the sunlight. Let me just give an analogy. A few years ago, I had 2 of my wisdom teeth taken out, right? And you could say, hey, Jamin, if you take out your teeth, how are you going to chew? And the answer is I have a lot more teeth in my mouth than just those 2, thankfully. And here's my point. We're only talking about 1%. We're talking about pulling out 1%. Now, yes, I'm sure there will be some local impacts, but as you see in the picture that Dr. Ye Tao at Harvard developed, they're spread out and they're round, right? So they're designed to have minimal impact. Now consider the coral reefs that are dying from overheating and other impacts like acidification, but overheating is the main one. It's too hot. They can't take it. Among the first places we're going to put these mirrors is over coral reefs that are overheating. We're going to cool them off, right? And so really the big answer, the short answer to your question, Prasanna, is we're going to optimize it. But we have to do it. There's no alternative. We're doing this. We're taking off like a rocket ship. The planet's on fire. My native California, on fire. Australia, on fire. Desertification, drought, famine. We're going down fast. We got to do something. We got to do this. All right, I want to get to the food part, but are there any other questions about SRM before I do that? Okay, the food part this is really fun. So, but first I want to ask everyone to please mute your microphone if you're not talking, because we're getting some feedback. Okay, let me see if I can just go right back to the presentation. Okay, it looks like I'll be able to do that. So, okay, tab, let's see here. Okay, good. Is it full screen now? Sunny? Okay. So we talked about SRM. Again, here are the pictures. And please watch the presentation that you'll see at thepressconference.org. That's from like less than a month ago. It's brilliant. You'll love it. Okay, and then now let's talk about food. So the program I'm going to give a summary of is something we call Food Healers. And we talk about this publicly every Friday for 4 hours, from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific time. And so please join when you can. Go to theconversation.cc and get the URL from there. The basic idea is this, it's very simple. We're going to feed everyone nutritious plant-based stew. 100% vegetables, plants, includes grain like rice, beans, lentils, all that, and different kinds of produce. Super healthy, and also prepared in such a way that we preserve to a maximum the nutrients of the produce, so no overcooking, and in some cases raw, like zero cooking. Anyway, I'll get to the cooking and preparation in a little bit, but basically we're maxing out on nutrition and flavor. Okay, it'll be delicious, absolutely delicious. So how will we do it? Well, we will buy mountains of potatoes, lentils, train loads of lentils, buy food at scale directly from the source. These are lentils from the great north of Canada, where if you buy straight from the source, you pay like less than 5% what you pay per pound in a supermarket. It's almost free. And during COVID times, we heard of potato farmers that were just saying, listen, the supply lines have shut down, free potatoes, come take them away, right? So food is basically free, whether lentils or potatoes or produce that the community grows, right? Food is basically free, especially plant-based foods, right? So we buy these foods in massive quantities. We cook them in massive quantities. This is like an industrial rice cooker, like to feed rice to a whole army. It's just a continuous machine spitting out trays of cooked rice. We cook the rice in its cooker. We cook the potatoes in its cooker, the beans in its cookers. And we mix those ingredients with the produce, which doesn't need to be cooked. We blend that in, okay? Most of it raw. In some cases we cook, like carrots, we might cook a little bit. But in many cases raw, and that's part of the key to preserving the nutrition. We have the technology for transporting liquids at basically freezing temperature without freezing. Okay, we do it for milk. This is the inside of a milk truck. It's pretty high tech, right? But it works. Well, milk spoils, right? Meat spoils. Vegetables, plants don't spoil so fast. So we don't need to go this advanced. But we are going to go very advanced in terms of how it looks. I'm asking Elon Musk to loan us his first Tesla truck so that we deliver this food in a Tesla truck starting in Los Angeles with a space-age looking trailer. By the way, if your microphone is unmuted, please mute, because we're hearing your background. Excuse me. So we'll have the space-age looking trailer that goes with the truck. It'll look like food from the future, but it will be food for the future. To save life on Earth, we need to feed everyone nutritious plant-based foods. Now, as I talked about, by feeding everyone, here's the end. But okay, so who's going to pay for it, right? I can already hear Mike saying, "Who's going to pay for it? Who's going to pay for it?" Right? So here is. I'm just kidding, Mike. I'm just playing with you. All right. Thank you. Okay. So here is where the massive efficiencies in logistics meet with the economics of generosity, right? First, let me talk about economics of generosity. And this has been studied. But if somebody says, "Hey, Jamin, give me $1,000 because I want to stay in an expensive hotel for one night and eat and all that," I'll probably say no. But if you say, "Hey, Jamin, if you donate $1,000, 1,000 hungry people will get to eat for a week," I'll say, "Okay." Right? If it's efficient, if the power of my dollar multiplies, right? And by the way, all these billionaires and 100 millionaires, they're all philanthropists, but they're always looking to maximize leverage. Okay. So as long as it's efficient, people get very, very generous. Okay. Now let's talk logistics. What I talked about by buying lentils by the trainload, mountains of potatoes, the costs go way, 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 way down. So we'll be able to feed people for maybe 20 cents, 25 cents per meal with the stew and the rice, and probably some fresh produce also on the side, like a salad, something like that. So efficient. And the food will be transported in bulk, the stew, at close to freezing temperature, and dispensed to everyone for free. When they first see that first Elon Musk Tesla truck in Los Angeles looking all space age, it'll be the first one on the streets. I'm sure Elon will say yes. He hasn't said yes yet, but I'm sure he will. That's going to be news. Everyone's going to hear about it. Everyone's going to donate, and it's going to go all over the world. That Tesla truck, listen to this, that Tesla truck with that space age trailer, that is the iPhone of food. Okay? In order to break out of this prison, this mental prison, money, more. In order to break out of that, we need to feed everyone. We need to show you and you and you and you and you and you and everyone watching and everyone around the world that everyone gets to eat, no matter what. You don't work? No problem. Here's food. You work? No problem. Here's food. Right? There's a drought? No problem. We ship the food across the ocean and we feed you. That's going to finally change our brain, our mentality from this game of survival, hoarding, that's killing us all. There's a quote from Ernest Hemingway. He went broke slowly and then all at once. He went broke. He lost his money. It's like a rich guy. He lost his money slowly, and then all at once. When he finally hit the wall and was out of money, boom. That's where we are right now with exponential climate change. Here's the new quote. We overheated slowly and then all at once. We are at the moment of all at once. We have the solution, but nobody can see it. We can't see it because we are addicted to a flavor of heroin called money. And if you're watching this right now and you think, "Oh, I'm not addicted, I'm happy." No. chances are you are addicted. You just tell yourself a story that you're not. Because it's not addiction to money, it's addiction to survival. And the game of survival today is a game of money. If you have money, you survive. If you don't, you die. Roughly. You know, unless you live in Switzerland or Sweden or China, right? But if you live in the United States, if you don't have money, you get to die. Okay? We're playing the wrong game. We need to change the game. We need to change our mentality. To do that, the first step is obvious: feed everyone. And as soon as Elon Musk says yes to the Tesla truck, we're going to hit the streets of Los Angeles and the cameras will be rolling. And when you hear it on the nightly news, you'll say, wait a second, that's that guy. We're doing this. Join us. Join us. We need all hands on deck. We have to feed everyone first to get us off this heroin. That's the first step to getting off the heroin of money. Food for everyone. One of the next steps is shelter for everyone. We have the buildings. They're just sitting empty. Again, we're playing the wrong game. We have the beds, we have the mattresses. They're empty. Why? We're playing the wrong game. We need to wake up. Questions, comments?
Amen. Yeah, I heard your voice coming from your heart. As you said, maybe less than 1% people in the world are aware of this situation now. And you saw the reality. We have more than 200 people registered. From time to time, we may got 80, we may got 100. So now we only have 10 people here. So you can use this as a sample. Not too many people aware, even we make this topic very clearly. So you mentioned two solutions. One is food. The other is the solar energy cause the greenhouse effect. I don't know, Miro, that seems very costly, right? You have to have, I don't know how many. But you mentioned the root cause is when people worry about their survival. So they have to be able to feed themselves. That's the first physiological needs. And so what I heard you said is that's where you want to start. You want to have enough food for the people. So they can make their brain functional better, or they won't burn too much energy to prepare their food?
Yeah. Good. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just want you to know I totally get those questions, but carry on.
Yeah, and then yes, by doing things step by step, affect one by one or few to many. That takes a lot of time. Certainly, people have to buy in this value, and that seems to me too slow. Why don't you or we go to government or United Nations? I believe there's many individual and institute are doing this. So what can set up from what can make us differently what they're doing?
Yeah. So Interesting, really good question. So first, let me address the question about, why feed everyone? What's the benefit there? Does it help them think? Will they get to consume less energy? It definitely, for those two things, definitely yes. There's lots of benefits to feeding everyone, but the single biggest benefit that I'm most focused on, beyond taking care of our brothers and sisters, but in terms of a geopolitical, the biggest benefit is that everyone will suddenly see, wait a second, there's food for everyone. I didn't think that was possible, right? And when they see something that they before didn't think was possible, it breaks open their head. Now their mind is open. We've broken it open. And then what do we put in there? We say, listen, then we tell them the whole story. The whole story goes like this. We start with feeding everyone, and we make it very economical, so economical that the amount of money donated to it exceeds the cost of operation. And it will actually go like wildfire. Once we start in Los Angeles, right, here's how the rich people are going to take it. Here's how they're going to look at it. They're going to see that Elon Musk and Jamen Shively are taking the lead, and Dr. Silas Rao is another major leader to this. When they see that, and they see that we're also making it a public conversation, they'll jump in. Everyone will want in. And they'll say, Elon's providing the trucks. Here's my checkbook. Here's millions. They're going to cut $1 million checks. And next thing you know, everyone in California is fed, and Tesla trucks are driving everywhere. And then next thing is a bunch of folks in New York are going to raise their hand and say, hey, if California can do it, New York can do it. And then France it's just going to go like wildfire. It's going to be a revolution. It will be a revolution, very fast, it's not going to be slow. This is going to go crazy, because everyone's going to realize that we don't have to have starving children on our television screens anymore. That's a revolution. And when we shift our mind like that, and then we tell our story, the whole story is that's just the beginning. Food, shelter, water, healthcare, right? Then we'll say, okay, hey, look, if all the needs of life are provided for free, and I don't have to worry about survival, then that liberates my mind, it liberates my heart. I no longer have to see other people as my enemy, right? I can say, okay, this is a whole new world now. Now what can we do together? The obvious thing is put out the fire. Our house is on fire, but we can't see it because we're addicted to the game of survival. So for me, Dr. Lou, aside from taking care of people who are starving, that's the first thing, is we got to feed them. But the second biggest benefit is it will change the mindset of humanity as a whole, which I think is essential if we're going to embrace SRM, solar radiation management. So I see it, again, I've been working on this nonstop for 7 years, every single day, right? And I have lots of elders in my family who I take care of. So they have to listen to me all day long. So I have a captive audience. Anyway, that's a joke, but it's also true. And that's what's taken me. It almost seems like a weird circuitous route. Now, you also mentioned, government. Hey, why not go to the government? The government of China could take the lead on this. That's the one government that I know that's really tight, really tight. They're tight with each other. They're tight internally. I'm sure they argue a lot, right? There's no question. But in the end, they move forward like one united force, right? So what we need is for you who are here in this room and you who are watching, if you're in the People's Republic of China, right? Or if you're in the Republic of China, Taiwan, right? Whatever China you're in, right? China is China, right? It's one culture, it's one people. Yes, there's lots of different ethnic groups. I get that, I respect that. But China has the ability to come together and move forward as one force. So if there's one government that could do it, it's the People's Republic of China. So think about that. Talk with your friends, your relatives who are in the government and say, hey, you should check out Dr. Ye Tao at Harvard. Check out his presentation, just check it out. He says he has the answer to cooling the planet, and then we need to do it now. Check it out. That's all. One step.
Okay,
right?
let me add something if I can. Okay?
Yeah. Yes, Cyril. Yes.
What I've got to say. I just came from working with Jamen and doing 8 days of virtual online open space with my daughter. This is what I learned from the Amazon. The scientists, we have 8 to 10 months to do this, or all the people in China are going to be dead. Okay? And what is the issue of the world? Change, right? Who is professionally trained to facilitate change in the world? Who is responsible? Who are the world leaders in change? You! You are young China people. You're the ones that gotta make this happen. Because, you know, as my guy Jared Leonardo says, and he just told the Pope this because the Pope is my client, the world will be 1 billion times different in 50 years. That's in your lifetime. You can't even imagine what 1 billion times difference can be. Because if we do this all right, you're going to live forever. You're going to live to be 150, 200 years old, 300. Amen? How?
Yeah, the world is changing so quickly. But right now we're at a critical juncture. Are we going to do this? Or are we going to continue down the path of destruction? Right? I'm proposing a strategy. Let's feed everyone. Here's how. That'll change our mindset. Then we can think about SRM and then we can do it. Right? So let's take a dual approach. Government of China, take the lead as a government. In California, we're going to put on one heck of a show. Unless we want to start in China, why don't we start in China? Why don't we take an electric vehicle made in China that looks super cool like a Tesla truck? Put on China. This is your century. This is your century. United States, we had a good run, but we're kind of going down right now. It's just ridiculous. And that's why we're starting a new American revolution. But that's an American thing. We need to get our own house in order. So we're starting that, and we're going to lead it with food. China, you had your revolution. This is your century. This is your moment. Lead by this new model. of efficient food production and distribution. I'll work with you. I've been to China. I enjoy it.